Everyone, this is yet another video. I'm going to do a demonstration on enumeration and exploitation of Microsoft SQL, and I'll get right into it. So for our lab, we're gonna, so for example, we're gonna do a enumeration and find out that on the full subnet. So if I do use CrackMapExec so CrackMapExec MSSQL on the full subnet 0/24, we will see that there are two machines that are running MSSQL on port 1433, which is the default port. So you can see that's this two machines, one Castle Black and one called Bravos. So what we'll do is, it's still running, but I can cancel that. So in this particular instance, I will demonstrate. For example, we found a clear text password called IC dead people, and we're trying to see if this is a user that is gonna and we have a user list. So for example, I've got a user list here. So if I go cat users.txt, I've got a list of this, and I've got a password that I found. So I want to find out which user, or whether that password belongs to one of these users. So we can use either CrackMapExec or netexec. For some reason, I found that CrackMapExec doesn't actually work for some reason. For example, I'll show this. If I use CrackMapExec using this users.txt and to this IP address, and using the password IC dead people, just remember that this is a password that we found while we were doing some enumeration. So I'm just using it for an example. So if I do that, we will see that CrackMapExec does not get a hit on any of the users. And if anyone can tell me why this is happening, that would be good. But I'll use another tool just to show that we do get a hit. You see nothing, we didn't get anything. But if we use netexec, that's why it's probably a good idea to try different tools. So if we use netexec, same command, mssql, same IP, users.txt -password, IC dead people, and if we try run that, so nothing on Samuel, nothing on Rob, nothing on John.snow, nothing on, and we get a hit on Brandon.stack. So I don't know why CrackMapExec did not get this, but netexec gets this. So we'll use this. So now we have a user and we have a password. So in one of the videos, I demonstrated how to use a custom MSSQL in packet for enumeration and exploitation, and I'll put the link on the description. So we'll go to that. So I have it on tools cd my packet 4. I'll go into that virtual environment, and we'll use this tool here. This is a custom one that we've got, which again, there's a video that shows how to set this up. So Windows auth, that's the domain. We're going to use the user Brandon.stack, which we enumerated here, and the password is :IC dead people, and that's the full domain. So if we run that, we should be able to connect to. All right, cool. So that is us in the machine, and if we do help, we can see these are some of the commands that we can use to enumerate this machine. So in this case, our end goal is to try and run this command, xp command shell. If we try and run it as this user, for example, we'll do an enum logins to enumerate the logins on this machine. Enum logins. And we can see these are the users: Brandon.stack, John.snow, system admin, sysadmin. But you can see that our current user, Brandon.stack, does not have sysadmin privilege. So if we try and run this command here to enable CMD shell, if I try that, you will see that it will fail. You do not have permissions to perform these actions. So what are we going to try and do? We're going to try and see whether we've got any impersonation that we can do on this machine to impersonate either SA or a user that has the privilege. So if we run this enum impersonate, and give it some time, we can see that we should be able to enum john.snow with our user. And if you look here, john.snow is a sysadmin, right? So to go to john.snow, we will go use this particular command here, exec as login, execute as login, and then john.snow. So if we put in that, paste that there, and then paste this user here, we are in as john.snow. And if we try and run the same command that we had here before, you can see that we were able to, it was registered as 1, so we are able to run it. So it did not give us that permission issue. So if you want to disable, you can go with this command here, and it tells you, you know what it means. So if you go here, it'll toggle that and disable. So if you go here, so change from 1 to 0. So, and then again, if we want to enable, we go here. All right. Now, what can we do once we're here? Once we're here, we can actually run again, I'll just run the help here command so that we should be able to now run this xp command shell and a command. And if I do that, for example, we see that it executes and tells us that this is, oh sorry, I'll use any command, for example, who am I? And you see it actually executes and it tells you that this is the user. So what is our end goal? Our end goal is try and get a reverse shell onto this machine, because there's nothing much we can do here. So I'll just split that screen. I will go into my trusted shells. I think there's a video on this as well in one of the, I'll put a link to the a link in the description. So if I go to cd, what's the tool shells, I'll run the shell script. I will go to PowerShell. I will go to set up my machine, my IP as a listener here, 198.51.100.2. I'll set it at 443. I'll put 1, and I'll put 12, which is a stage, and it'll create a CS proj on this temp file, temp folder. So click enter. All right, so this is what we need to run as the command here. And ideally, I always like to decode this, to encode this as using PowerShell, so that it's easier. And I'll use this. I'll just, so this is what I normally use. So I use you can decode it with whatever tool you want, but I normally use PowerShell for this. So I'll copy all that. I'll delete. I'll go to my copy this whole command here. I'll go to PowerShell. So I put single quotes, and then I dump everything into the single quotes. And this is basically base64 encoding the whole command. So if I run that, it will run and it will give me this base64 here. If you try and copy this, if you try and run this, it's not going to work, because it's split it into different lines, and trick that I normally use to do this is I just put it on a web browser, and then no, where is it? I copy everything here, copy to my web browser, put everything there, and then so it's pasted everything, and then I copy everything here. Now what we're trying to do is now run this command from our MSSQL machine. So I'll close this file here. I will split the screen into two, and here I am going to go into the temp folder, cd temp, because this is where I need to serve that file, so I'll serve it. And here I need to set up my listener on NLC 443, and here we're going to now run the command, which is xp cmd shell, and then PowerShell, and as EP, which is execution policy bypass, EP bypass, and then dash encode, which, and then we put in our that whole base64, that one, just confirming that it was actually one. Oh, I don't know why it missed, but it's actually two. I'll just put that one at the end here. Oh, it's actually got it here, sorry. So if we hit enter here, we should see that the file should be picked from here and then run on that machine, and then we should get a reverse shell. So I'll hit enter. You see the file got picked here, and we should get a reverse shell here, and we're in. So if I do who am I, we are SQL. So if I do, I can go into the different folders. If I say do a who am I, priv. This is some of the privileges, and we can see that we've got S impersonate privilege, and we can use something like bad potato or something to do a privesc, and I'll show that in a different video. But for this particular video, yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll do another video after this just to show how we can use jump from lateral move from one MSSQL server to another via linked server. If you've got them linked, even if they're in different domain, as long as they have a trust, we are able to do a RCE on the linked server. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Let me know if you have any questions on the comments, and hope you enjoy this. Thanks.